Hi, everyone. Welcome to the April 7th, 2022 meeting of CB11's Environment, Open Space and Parks Committee. My name is Jessica Elliott, and I'm the chair of the committee. This meeting is called to order at 6:34 p.m. Tonight, we are joined by District Manager Angel Muscane, the staff liaison to our committee. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. If you click the participants icon, the participants panel should appear and you should find the raise hand function there. If you still have technical difficulties, you may click the chat icon and relay your difficulty to the staff. The chat function should not be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. When a member is given the floor to speak, I will identify you and you can unmute yourself so that you can speak. Please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subjects on the agenda, please raise your hand through Zoom and wait to be recognized. We will now take attendance by roll call. Board members, you can unmute yourselves and answer present when your name is called.
Diane Collier. Jessica Elliott.
Present.
Present Angel, sorry.
That's all right, we got you. David Giordano.
Present.
Alonzo Johnson.
Here.
Connie Lee. Malik McCullough.
Present.
Shirley Pena. Debbie Quinones. Natasha Rodriguez.
Present.
Russell Schuler. Michelle Wilcher Clement.
Present.
And Jordan Wright. You have quorum.
Thank you, Angel. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and was posted online. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Committee members, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand through Zoom. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The minutes from our last meeting were distributed to committee members ahead of time by the board office. If there is no objection, we will adopt the minutes from that meeting. Committee members, if you object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand through Zoom. Seeing no objections, the minutes from the last full board meeting are adopted. They will soon be available on the CB11 website. Meeting minutes of tonight's meeting are being taken by myself. Well, first we'll have some announcements. I can do this, Angel, if that's. The next meeting of this committee is scheduled for May 5th, 2022. New York City Parks will receive public input as part of the design process for the renovation of Detective Omar Edwards Park, East 124th Streets between 2nd and 3rd Avenues until April 14th. Comments can be submitted at the, I can post this in the chat as well. They had a meeting last week, which unfortunately I was unable to attend, but hopefully some of you all were. I know Connie was able to attend and she had sent me her notes. So thank you, Connie, even though you're not here. I think everyone on this committee, I know that was the outreach being done for that park. And this is probably one of our only opportunities to get our input in before things begin to happen. So I encourage everyone on this committee and in the public to follow this link and submit your feedback before April 14th. I will post that in the chat. One more announcement is that we'll talk about it in a little bit, but the CB11M East Harlem Earth Day Conference will take place on Friday, April 22nd at the Museum of the City of New York from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. East Harlem residents have a link to register, which I will put in the chat, and community partners have a separate link to register, which I will also put in the chat. And we ask that all attendees register by April 15th. And you can always reach out to myself at eosp@cb11m.org for more information. Just trying to multitask here and I'm failing at it. Thank you, Angel, for posting that in chat. I think it was just to panelists. So for everyone, that's the link for the Detective Omar Edwards visioning input. And then, thank you. And then I'll post the chat and the registration links in a minute. So before we move on, let's see. We will now hear informational updates from city agencies. If you are here to represent a city agency, please raise your hand and I will recognize you. Is anyone from Parks on the phone today?
I'm only seeing Dave from Randall's Island.
Okay, great. Hi, David. All right. Well, I had a question for Parks. If Angel, if you see them hop on, would you let me know?
Certainly.
Okay, thank you. So we'll recognize David Salerno from Randall's Island Park Alliance. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, of course, Jessica. Thanks for having me. Just going to go through some things real quick. Icon Stadium, just so people know, our track meet schedules in full swing. We had our first big meet last weekend. We actually have some nice large meets that are going to be really exciting this year, including the USA Track and Field Youth Nationals and the Colgate Games. These will be in June. So if you ever want to come out and see some track meets out there, definitely should. They're really, really cool. All our ball fields are open as of April 1. Including grass soccer fields are the last ones. Athletic permits for anyone who's interested can be submitted on the park's website, as well as special event permits. Just letting people know we are getting so many requests this year, particularly for special events. So if people are interested in having barbecues, family get-togethers out there, you really should try to get them in as soon as you can. If people have questions on that, you can always reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. And questions about locations where you can do things in the park, I know sometimes can be confusing. So happy to do that. We love having people out there. We are actually going to have a new art piece going in the park through the New York City Parks Public Art Program. It's actually the artist Ruben Robert who has the two pieces that are out there that are being removed. He's going to have a new one replacing the one down on Ward. Both of the ones existing are being removed. There's going to be a new one coming in. It's called the Empower Flower. We're working with Ruben, the same gallery and Parks Public Art Program to find a place for it. It's going to be on boards, maybe by the 103rd Street or perhaps by the playground. But it's a really cool piece, so we're excited for that. And also, just in general, in terms of public art, we'd love to have more artists, East Harlem artists. If people are interested in that or know people, you can have them get in touch with me. I can put them in touch with the New York City Parks Public Art Program. Elizabeth Masala is her name. So we're always looking for stuff. And also RIPA ourselves, we'd love to have local artists as part of our programs. We do a lot of things with art in the park, things like that. So we'd love to feature artists who want to come out and do some cool things with kids or some of our groups out there. So anyone who knows anyone interested, please tell them to get in touch with me. And then just real quick, a few things coming up. We have a lot of availability still for our island field trips, urban farm, our waterfront stewardess program. If educators, let them know to get in touch with us. Chris Gergenti, myself, anyone will put you in touch. We'd love to have them out there. The urban farm volunteer and open days have started every Sunday. People can just show up if they're interested. We're hoping to do Saturday soon as we get the staff in place. We'll do that. We're excited, Jessica. We're certainly going to be there for the Earth Day event. We actually tried to register and Chris was having trouble with the form. I don't know if that was something you were aware of, but
I updated it. If you could try now, I think it'll work.
Okay.
So far, we've had people responding. So
yeah, all right.
Thank
So
you.
I'll let him know. But we're definitely going to be there. We have every intention to be there. We're excited for that as well. Jesse Owens Track and Field Program has started up. We do it at Tom Jeff Park, along with City Parks Foundation for youth to learn track and field. Any youth age 8 to 16 who want to participate, you can register on the Randall's Island website. We'd love to have you out there. Again, that's at Tom Jeff Park. So but we work with City Parks Foundation to host it out there. I think the end of the year, we do an event at Icon Stadium, which is really fun. And then one last big event, Cherry Blossom Festival. It's an annual festival we do, is May 1st. May 1st from 12 to 3. We'll be down on Ward's Island, kind of near the playground and the farm. It's a really, really fun event. Hopefully the cherry blossoms are still in bloom. They've already started coming out, so it's always so hard to time that every year, but it's a really fun event for families to come out, totally free. So we'd love to have people come out for that. And that's about what I got. Any questions? David, I see your hand raised.
Hi, sorry, I'm driving, so that's why I'm not on the thing. I just want to make sure, because you didn't say it, that, you know, I work with Children's Aid Society, and we bring camp groups out there for the recreational program. That will, yeah, okay. I just haven't seen any notification yet.
Oh no, the summer camp with Lou Schlanger, the Randall's Island summer camp is coming back this year for sure.
Okay, good,
Yeah,
great.
well,
Look
we usually, there should be something coming out really soon about that. I know we do like the
Yeah,
introductory
it's
meetings.
usually around this time,
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
great.
make sure that you get the info, but it's absolutely coming back full scale. So we're
Great.
excited for that too.
Great, thank you, David. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, David. Any other questions for Randall's Island Park Alliance? Michelle?
Hold on, let me just make sure that you could actually see me. Hi, David. Hi.
Michelle.
Thank you for your presentation. I wanted to find out your follow through with the water fountain, and have you followed through?
The water fountain turn-ons are going on right now. Let me find out about the filter replacements. I don't know if Parks has been replacing the filters on them. I'll find out about that. I know they're not all on yet. Parks, it takes a long time for them to get to all the fountains to turn on. But I promise you, I'll get you an update on that next time. I know certain ones can be replaced, certain the newer ones, the filters can be replaced. So I will find out and make sure that that gets done.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Michelle. Any other questions for Randall's Island Park Alliance? Okay, thank you so much, David. And please let me know if there are any more problems registering, but we're so looking forward to having you all come and you have so many great programs and events. I'm excited for the community to learn more about them.
Yeah, we're excited to be there. We can't wait. That'll be great. Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you. All right, are there any other parks advocacy groups that would like to give an update to our committee? Please raise your hand on Zoom.
Jessica, I'm here from Trees New York, but I think that you had me on the agenda as a separate
That's
entry.
true.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
right.
Yep, you're up next after informational updates, I think.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Any other community-based organizations on the call who would like to give an update to our committee? Raise your hand. Seeing none, we will move on. I lied, Sarah. I guess we're going to talk about Earth Day event first, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely, yep.
Great. So unfortunately, Debbie isn't here today. She let me know that she wasn't going to be able to join us, but I think you know, you've all been aware that we're planning the Earth Day conference, and we have a hand up in the chat and the participants. I'll get to you in just 1 second, Jean. So a small group of us have been working together on putting together sort of the deliverables and making sure that we're able to move forward. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank Debbie Quinones and Michelle Wiltshire-Clement, obviously Angel as always, and Xavier for helping us get to where we are today, which is as of today, 15 minutes before our meeting. Thank God. We got confirmation that the Museum of the City of New York is going to be hosting our event on April 22nd. And then on April 23rd, we will also be having Parks Day events. So far, we are only aware of events taking place in Harlem Art Park and Thomas Jefferson Park. So if you are aware or know of any other parks events going on the 23rd, which is the Saturday, please do let me know. And We have a couple invitations. So essentially, there are 3 invitations. So the first invitation was to all of the presenters that we've asked to present. We have the mayor's office for climate and environmental justice coming to present broadly, unfortunately, on the on environmental justice in general, with a little bit of a focus on Upper Manhattan and South Bronx to get a sense of what sort of impacts it will have to our neighborhood. But the findings are still, the report is still underway, so they were not able to give us specifics on findings at this time, but I still think it will be a valuable presentation to get a better understanding of the challenges at hand. We will also be having Department of Parks and Recreation and EDC coming to present on projects ongoing and planned in the neighborhood. We're still waiting on for confirmation on what those specific presentations will be about, but I know they're coordinating with each other to make sure there's no overlap, and presentations will be short. So we will see about what exactly is on their agenda for presenting, but they will be there to present on that. And then additionally, we have New York City Planning, who is yet to be confirmed, but we've asked them to present on the comprehensive waterfront plan and the impacts to our neighborhood. So the second invitation is for community partners. So we've reached out to a number of community partners in East Harlem who deal with issues of the environment, and we're getting those people registered. But the third invitation is for residents, East Harlem residents specifically. So that is the form we should be using for people who would like to attend the full event. There is a $50 gift card provided at the end of the event for all residents who provide an email address and address in the district, fill out the statement of district needs survey, and attend for the entire event, which is 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for residents. Before we get any further into tasks and things, we have a work plan that we've been working on, and I won't bore you with the details, but I've set up a separate document just to get a sense of who can attend the event and what sort of tasks you might be willing to contribute, whether you can or cannot make the event. So before we move to that, I'll just recognize Jean Kim in the audience, in the public.
Hi. Hi, Jessica. My name is Jean Kim. I just wanted to quickly introduce myself. I'm the new executive director of the Friends of the East River Esplanade. And we span from 60th to 120th Street, and we're organizing some exciting events. One of them is on June 22nd with the East Harlem tutorial program. So the kids are going to partner with an adult to learn fishing, and also we have a slew of summertime events. So we'll share the flyer with you soon. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Jean. And nice to meet you. I heard, I think Michelle Wilcher Clement let me know that she ran into you, I think, at the Green and Blue Eco Care event last Saturday. And we're looking forward to working with you, as we have a pretty close relationship with Friends of the East River Esplanade. And just a reminder to yourself and the rest of the team to fill out the community partners invitation to collaborate for the Earth Day event coming up.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Angel, if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen. Thing at a time. Sorry about that. Here we go. All right, so apologies for the shortness of this document, but if all the committee members, if you could just let me know, we're just trying to take stock of who on the call is able to attend the Friday 4/22 event and who cannot attend. So I know myself and Angel will be at the event. Xavier cannot make it. Maybe we'll just go down the list. Michelle, do you plan to be at the event on Friday? Absolutely.
I do plan, absolutely.
Okay, great. David?
Yeah, I know. I plan to be there, and you know, we can talk. That week we don't have as many kids, but we can talk about some kids participating.
Yep.
Maybe after we finish the meeting tonight, we could hash a little of that out a little more tomorrow. I have the morning free, Jess. I know we've been,
Perfect, sounds good.
you know, so
Thank you,
whatever
David.
works. Sure.
Natasha?
If David lets me, I'll be there.
David was including you in Keystone, but we won't talk about that until afterwards. But yes.
All right, what else do we have?
So just so you do know, Jessica, Natasha does work for me as well. So even though
Oh,
she's one of
great.
our youth leaders, she does work with us. So yes, we will be there with our group.
Awesome, thank you, David and Natasha. Diane?
I'll be there,
Thank you, Diane.
but not on the 23rd.
Got it. Me either, unfortunately. I know Debbie will be attending. Okay, and any other board members? Malik?
I cannot on the 22nd. What time is that event ends?
It's from 9:30 in the morning to 2 p.m.
Yeah, no, that's on a Friday. No,
Yeah, that's
but
okay.
Saturday I can. What time is Saturday?
Saturday, it's a mix. So right now we're only aware of the Harlem Art Park and Thomas Jefferson events, but I'm not sure what times they will be happening. So that's to be confirmed.
Yeah, I think I could do that anyway. So
Okay.
sign me up on Saturday.
Okay. And is anyone else available to attend the parks events on the Saturday following the event?
Yes, I
Michelle?
can attend the 22nd, but not the 23rd.
Okay, thank you, Alonzo. Sorry, I missed you. I'm trying to scroll through here.
No problem.
I would have to check my calendar and I'll just email you if
Okay,
I'm able to.
thank you, Natasha.
I'm pretty sure 23rd, but I'm not, I really need to know the times.
Okay. Tentative. Is anyone else tentative? I guess, Natasha, you just said you were. Sorry. And then David, are you able to join on the Saturday following? I know you're driving, so.
I can't be on the Saturday because I have Alvin Ailey auditions at the school.
Okay,
But
great.
we can have possibly some kids involved on that day with another worker.
Okay.
for that as well. So, okay, sorry.
Perfect, thank you. So I'm gonna go into, I've set up tasks for the event day of the Earth Day event, tasks for the Parks Day. There's only one, and then pre-event tasks. So I'm just gonna go one by one down the list. So registration and check-in will be from 9:30 in the morning until 10 a.m. We have a registration survey set up already. So essentially it would just be checking those people in or registering anyone who did not pre-register. And I think potentially 2 people will need to hang out, help out with that. And then we also need, as part of that, I think maybe it can be the same 2 people, but we also need to distribute and collect the Statement of District Needs Survey, which will be in digital and paper form. There will also be breakfast being handed out at the beginning of the event, to be determined. I've reached out to Super Nice, which is my favorite bakery that I'm aware of. So they're gonna let us know if it's possible for them to bring breakfast, but it would be nice to have one person just sort of oversee that process. And So on top of registration, I'm just going to go down the list and then maybe you can all think about what is available and let me know at the end of each list of tasks. That's okay. Angel, unfortunately, you're going to give an introduction to Community Board 11, if that's okay.
It's unfortunately for me or unfortunately for the attendees?
Unfortunately for you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you. And then I'm going to give a brief intro into what is health equity, and hopefully the New York City Mayor's Office can give a pretty good summary of what is environmental justice. So as Diane noted, that's something we all need to understand before we go into these conversations together. Then from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. we'll be doing presentations. So there is a staff associated with the New York Museum of the City of New York that will have AV tech and people to help out with the event. But I just want to make sure there's one person who can sort of run the microphone to people with questions so that they can be heard. And then I think during presentations, we need to be coordinating with the community partners to set up the tables, and I think the tables could be set up potentially the night before. I'm not sure, but we'll need to coordinate with that so that at 12 p.m. everyone moves seamlessly to the space with the tables and community partners are ready. So I think that'll take 1 to 2 people. During the interactive lunch from 12 to 1, there will be a visioning board activity. I'm working on that with Jessica Morris. So we'll need 2 people to run that activity. So essentially, I think it'll likely be myself. And if Jessica Morris can make it, otherwise anyone who's there is welcome to help out with that one. But essentially, we're going to be asking questions like with a map of East Harlem, where do you spend your time outdoors and why? Where don't you spend your time outdoors and why? And then thinking, there might be some sort of visual activity where there are sort of components of what could be on the streets or in the parks, and people can choose or from those things or draw their own and sort of give us a sense of what's missing in our neighborhood or what's great about the things that we have that we don't want to lose, and things like that. So trying to collect data from our residents to see what they think about the neighborhood and how they see our future together. So then we'll have lunch during the lunch time, obviously. So we're working, Michelle has been instrumental in coordinating with Giselle, who we're asking to be our vendor for that activity. So I think she's going to have a small team distributing the food, but I think it would be nice to provide at least one person to sort of oversee and assist as needed. And then at the end of the resident event, which is at 1 p.m., we just need to check out the residents essentially. So as part of the $50 gift card, the rule is that you have to stay for the full event until 1 p.m. Because the 1 to 2 p.m. is a community-based organization and community board specific event. So at 1 p.m. or throughout lunch, as people have, talked to the community partners and participated in the visioning board, or as they check out, we'll be giving them their gift card at that time. So I probably will need assistance with that, because there will probably be like 150 people. And then the workshop, which is 1 to 2 p.m., we just need someone to take notes, I think. I can't really think of anything else that we would need at that time. So for the event day tasks, is there anything anyone specifically would like to volunteer for?
You said you need someone to help when we're taking questions with the mic and
Yep.
stuff. I'll do that.
Thank you, Natasha.
I can help with the registration. I as in Michelle.
I see you, Michelle. Thank you so much.
The lunch, I might as well keep following, helping with Giselle.
Okay.
And the leaving part.
Okay, perfect.
I'm
I
verbally
could
raising my
probably
hand
help
for
set
next.
up.
No, go ahead, Natasha. Go ahead.
I said I could probably help set up the tables and stuff also.
Okay. Perfect. Go ahead, Alonzo.
Yes, ma'am. I can do, I can help with the breakfast. I live 1 block from Super Nice, so whatever you guys need me to do and help with that, I can help.
Thank you.
I may be sitting at a table with one of the partners at noon, so I can also try to help with the lunch, but I may be at a table as well. So I mean, whatever else you think I could do before noon, I'm happy to help.
Okay. Okay, I'll put you under
The swag
tabling.
bags, yeah.
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 Yeah, I'm not sure what's gonna happen with swag bags just yet. You know, we're asking if people want to bring a small item that you know, they can provide to 150 people and it be sustainable. So we'll see how that goes. But
So I'm sorry, real quick. So when it says assist with the swag bags, would we be helping you guys find those items, or we're just sitting
Oh,
there
no.
filling bags?
yeah, I think just filling the bags.
Okay, I can definitely do that. Thanks.
If there are bags, we'll see.
Oh,
Anybody
we'll have-
else?
We might not have anything in the bag.
Well, at minimum, like, you know, and I don't know, we had discussed doing like a USB that, like we would just buy like 150 USBs and have all of the information from the event put on those USBs along with any information from the community partners. So that's still kind of up in the air, but it's one of our ideas to hopefully do.
If anything, it could be a talk of what is community board and what is community board 11, and especially our committee.
Yeah,
If any-
exactly.
That would be great.
Go ahead, Angel.
I don't know if you wanted anything as big as shirts, but we have CB11 shirts we can add to a swag bag, and we have those pamphlets to talk about, you know, what a community board is. We have tons of those.
Yeah, definitely the pamphlets. Do you think we have 150 shirts?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, okay.
I have the banner. I believe I have the banner.
And David has the banner.
Yeah, so I'll make sure I get that to us, to y'all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, at the school.
Okay.
Jessica, sorry.
Yes.
I don't know if can you guys accept some stuff that has branding from a company or no?
What kind of company?
We're just a small private investor relations firm.
I don't know. What do you think, Angel?
Guess it depends what it is.
Is it
I'm
eco?
sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I guess it depends what it is.
Oh, so we have these little items where it helps you open doors and push the button on the elevator. You know, we had so many of them during COVID, we just need to get rid of them. So I'm happy to donate that to the event if you can accept that.
I don't
think we
see why
can.
not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we can.
Thank you,
Okay.
Alonzo.
You're welcome.
It has to do with health, so that's good. Diane?
Yes.
So I'll
Very
help
helpful.
out Michelle with the registration
Okay.
and probably help out after that with handing out the surveys.
Thank you.
I'll see how the day goes along and where you need help.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Diane's also really good on the idea boards.
What? I see.
Oh,
you
the-
brought it-
Which one, Angel?
Like, well, you know what, like when you take notes, like when you're the
Oh.
mapping exercise,
Yes.
she's really good with that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want to help me with the visioning board?
It's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, I think this
She'll
was,
get me back at some point, but
You know I will.
well, I feel pretty good about this so far. So thank you all for volunteering. We'll move on to the Parks Day events. Essentially, we have the videographer who did the AIA film challenge with myself and Xavier back in 2020, I think. So he is fulfilling his duty to come back and finish up that story because we could not do much with 90 seconds. And now we have at least, 4 to 5 minutes to contribute to to have a sort of longer video that tells more of the story. So His role will be to, we're going to have the event recorded via Zoom, but he's going to be taking, more of the experiential shots and then coming the following day to the parks events to do the same thing. So one of the questions on the forms is if you're okay to be recorded, and that this is the reason why. But as for the Parks Day, since I will not be there, Xavier will not be there, I just need 1 or 2 people to volunteer to sort of, be his friend for the day and make sure that, people aren't harassing him for, for videoing and what to focus on and blah, blah, blah. Who do we got? Michelle, what'd you say?
All right, at 9:30. Oh, wait.
It's just the Saturday parks events. I think you said you were tentative, so
I got it.
thank you, Malik. All right. I feel good about that. So pre-event, there's a few things that need to be done, obviously, before the event. I know James Horton has been incredibly helpful, so helpful to us to get us the space at the Museum of the City of New York. He's offered to let us help set up things that we can Thursday evening. I will definitely be there. If anyone else would like to join me around 6 o'clock or whenever it is to put things together, that's one option. And then overall, we need everyone to contribute to distributing the event materials and registration. So after this meeting, I'll send everyone a link with sort of all the things that we have and who they are intended to go to so that you can share with the appropriate groups. And if Angel, if the community board staff, I know we already talked about this, but that we can include it in the social media newsletters. There will be some printing ahead of the flyering. So, and printing for the event. I'm gonna take care of that because I print things a lot. And I'll transport that to the CB11 office, at least the flyers, so that we can flyer local businesses, senior centers, and community spaces. We need as many people to do this one as possible. USBs, we mentioned, we were thinking about doing those. So if they are able to be done, we would like 2 people to sort of help us gather the information. That's probably going to be me and somebody else. So one person to help me figure out what all we're putting on there and get it all uploaded. Green Champions, I know this is something, we were hoping to provide a little bit of inspiration behind, in addition to whatever we can come up with, David, for youth engagement. And art or whatever that is. We have artists coming to do installations. So there will be some inspiration, but we were thinking about having sort of these green champions, which would be people that we've identified in the community who are champions of the environment. So we want to collect photos and bios to be printed for that event. And we have a little list, and I see Mary Nell Hawk is on the line and she's on that list. So there's a few people, but I just need a little bit of help reaching out to them. And then visioning activity, right now that's me and Jessica Morris. But if you have thoughts on what that should look like, I would love for more people to join us on that. And then I'm not sure, Angel, what the process is with paper and digital surveys, but I think we need a little bit of assistance to coordinate with Jason and on making sure that's ready. And then finally, developing an agenda for the strategy workshop with our community partners. So if anyone would like to help me with that, these are your options.
I like the contacting the Green Champions. I would help with that.
Thank you.
And what would the strategy workshop develop agenda for strategy workshop?
Yeah, so essentially the strategy workshop, it's just bringing together all of our community partners who we're just tabling. We're going to have just a conversation on what we would like to see as leaders in the community, and what sort of, whether that's setting up a standing meeting setting up a coalition. That's something I hope that we will consider. And then, just generally talking about governance and sustainability of these conversations.
And yes.
Angel, go ahead.
I can help the event set up on that Thursday. And if you wanted to have the Friday before, I guess it's the 15th. We have an intern in the office as bilingual, could probably help with paper distribution.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, because that's one of the things I forgot was translation. So thank you. Translation.
I could do the translation.
Okay.
Well, this is so Spanish.
Angel and staff.
Well, Jessica, what is the prep of paper and digital SDN survey again?
So that one, yeah, we are going to be having paper and digital versions of the survey that we did last year for residents. That's one of the requirements for them to get the gift card, is that they fill out the whole survey. So it's just coordinating with Jason and Angel and whoever else to get those paper copies and the digital link or whatever ahead of the event. I know, very intriguing.
Okay.
Okay. No problem. I could just, I don't know, Angel, if I can just assign Jason to the list.
Yeah, you could put Jason and I on it. Just let us know what you want it to look like, and we'll.
Okay.
Yep.
Jessica,
Sorry, Alonso.
sorry, while you're typing, I have one quick question.
Yes.
I'm a total idiot, and I did not, as far as registration is concerned for the community attendees, it's open to anyone, correct? Or is it open to specific groups?
It's open to anyone who lives in East Harlem.
Right. Okay.
I'm just going to show you what the form looks like. So this is the form for East Harlem residents. It's just
Gotcha.
your name, your email address, your address, will confirm that it's in the district. If they have any dietary restrictions.
My
They have to be over.
My question is, anyone who may not have access to a computer who can do this online, how do we deal with that?
So anyone who doesn't have access to a computer, they can join us at the day of the event. And as long as there's still space, they can fill out this form, with us at the event in registration.
So we can tell people to show up on site. They can fill it out on paper, and then hopefully there'll be enough space where they can attend.
Yes. Yeah. It would,
Understood.
yeah. And yeah, that would be great.
Okay. Thank you.
If folks are are willing, they can also come to the community board office any of the days that we're open, and we're happy to help them do it online as well.
Thank you, Angel.
Thank you, Angel.
No problem.
All right. Anyone else interested in any of these pre-event tasks? I know.
I just have a question. When will the flyer be ready? If you know tentatively, and no, I just need to know when the flyer so I can do my send it out to the people that a lot of people on my behalf.
Yeah, we have a digital flyer so far, which can be printed.
That's all I need.
Okay.
Just text it to me.
And then, so basically, now that we know the final event location as 15 minutes before our meeting, I have to just update that to reflect. And then I'm going to look into doing a QR code, which I've never done before. If anyone's ever done that, please let me know. So that, people can just get the form to register from the printed flyer. And then I should be able to have that done this weekend, and I can print them out this weekend, and we can start flyering as of Monday next week. All right. I think anyone who can't attend the event, Malik, and I think you're the only one. So if it's possible, I'd like to put you down for flyering, and you can, we can recruit other people to help out with that. I'll help you out with that, if that's okay.
What do you mean by flying?
I just want to go, just give people physical versions of the invitation so that people who may not have heard about it on the internet or wherever else from our meeting can see it in passing somewhere that they frequent, such as the NYCHA campus, which I would really like to get as many people from the NYCHA campuses as possible, and senior centers and things like that.
No problem. I'm just back to work now, so I don't get off until 6. So
Okay,
anytime after that, I'm free. Or
okay,
we could do it on the weekend. I'll figure
Yeah.
out a day on the weekend and we could tackle that.
okay.
Next weekend
Yeah.
I'm free. So that's a
Yeah, I'm also free this weekend, so maybe if I can print it on Saturday morning, we can start distributing it on Saturday afternoon. But I'm also only free after 6 p.m. on weekdays and on the weekends. So is anyone else able to help with flyering? All right. I will come and get you later, but this is pretty good for right now. So I will send out an email with all of the information as soon as I update it to this group, and we can start distributing, and we'll go from there. But thank you all so much for helping out with this, and it's going to be great. And I think the idea is that hopefully we can do this every year. We only have the grant for 1 year, so I'm not sure that we would be able to sustain paying residents, but hopefully this goes well enough that people will sponsor us for next year, whatever the costs are that we had this year. So yeah, and then just really quick, we plan to get feedback on the event, following up with residents, and one small note about the gift cards. Alonzo, you made me think about this, asking about people who don't have access to the internet. I've researched this, and I think the best way and the cheapest way for us to get the gift cards will be a digital gift card. So I'm thinking that most of the gift cards will be digital and given to people via their email address, which we will be sure to confirm. But I will get at least a few that are physical gift cards, so that I don't want to be carrying around like 100 physical gift cards, but I'll have enough so that if people do not have an email address, we can hopefully give them a limited supply of physical gift cards. Are there any other thoughts about the event or questions or talking about it?
I was just curious. I did not see anywhere here about a person that is helping with setting the time for people to talk, or really getting the time for people to stop talking in a gentle fashion.
Yes.
A host.
Very smart. Thank you. Timekeeper. Does anyone want to be the timekeeper? We might be able to have someone at the event. There's enough staff, I think, that we might be able to have them help us with that, but worst case scenario, I can do it. But thank you, Diane. That's a great point. And I think that'll be important throughout the entire event, to be honest. Michelle, I saw you on mute.
And that was me, Michelle. You said Diane.
Yeah. You didn't have anything to say?
No, I was the one who brought up the thing about timekeeping.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was tiny. Sorry about that, y'all.
Diane?
Sorry, guys. Yeah, it was Michelle who brought it up. But Jessica, let's see what happens when we get there. If you need me to do it, I'll do it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Diane, you came up. It's great.
She's put my name in. I said, let's see if you need me, but I'll just leave it there for now. It's okay.
Okay.
It's all good.
Thank you, Diane. All right, any final thoughts, questions on Earth Day conference? See, there's some chat. Sharon, you mentioned that on Saturday events are only being planned at Harlem Art Park, or can events be scheduled at other park locations and be listed? Yes, we've reached out to as many people as possible. But if we're missing parks groups or anything, please let me know. We want people who are involved with parks to be at our event. And if there are any events that you're aware of on the Saturday, please let us know, and we will be sure to advertise that at the day of the conference and ahead of time.
I couldn't hear everything that was being said specifically by David with Randall's Island, but was there something happening on Randall's Island for Earth Day?
Oh, good question. I know they are attending our event on the 22nd. But David, do you have any thoughts?
Let me double check. I know we had an Earth Day volunteer project. I don't know if it's actually on Earth Day. Let me see, the 23rd.
The 23rd.
Yeah. We have Jesse Owens on the 23rd, which is Tom Jeff, which is the only thing I'm seeing on here. You know what? Let me double check with our programming team and see if there's something planned for that. I don't see anything on our calendar, and I know the 24th we have an event with on the farm, but I'm not seeing anything for the 23rd outside of Jesse Owens. So let me double check, and Jessica, I'll let you know if we have anything going on that day, if there's anything maybe in the works.
Okay.
Thank you so much, David.
Farm on the 23rd, so it was my mistake. Okay.
No problem. There was something else I was going to ask. Well, it's escaped my mind forever. So, Angel, did anyone from Parks show up yet?
Not that I see.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to stop screen sharing and we can move on. Thank you so much for your time. All right, so next up we have an informational presentation about Trees New York. So welcome, Sarah. Thank you so much for being here. And I sent you an invitation as well for the Earth Day conference. So please let us know if you'll be able to attend, or someone from your group. We look forward to seeing your presentation today.
Wonderful. Yes, I saw that and was so immediately impressed. And now hearing some of the planning take place, I'm even more impressed. This sounds really incredible, and an example of what a super organized community board can make happen for their community. So it's kudos to you and great to see that, and thank you for inviting us. It's, as you can imagine, for an organization like Trees New York, a very demanding and demanded time, so we are booked that day or both of those days actually. But
okay, no problem.
I'll check in with our executive director in case anything changes, but for right now our calendar is full.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to share. Oh, yeah. Okay, let me try again. Attempt to share my screen. Great. So while I'm getting this into presentation mode, which hopefully you can all see, I'm Sarah Balistreri. I'm an environmental educator with Trees New York. I really appreciate you all giving us a little bit of time on your agenda tonight. Again, it's wonderful to see a motivated and organized community board. And I'm here really just to hopefully get the wheels turning even more than they already are about potential programming and ways that we could have touch points in your community. So by the end of this quick presentation, I'm hoping to give you about 5 ideas for ways that either you as a community board or others in your community could potentially partner with or somehow participate with the work that Trees New York does. So Trees New York has been around since 1976. It was started by community members who really witnessed and understood that there's limited funding and limited resources that come from our city agencies to take care of the enormity of, services that our city needs, including services for our street trees. So when these community members realized that trees were not being cared for and stewarded to a degree that really helped protect them and help them thrive into maturity, they formed Trees New York and started taking that on themselves. In these years since Trees New York has been around, we've trained over 12,000 citizen pruners, which I'm going to talk a little more about in a second. And just in the last 10 years, Trees New York has planted over 4,000 street trees and some park and other public space trees, including, since we've been talking about Randall's Island, back in, I think it was October of this just past year, we held a relatively large corporate event where we had a bunch of corporate volunteers and planted about 60 trees on Randall's Island. So you can visit those trees next time you are on the island. So Trees New York does a variety of services, but all with the goal of fostering the health of our urban forest and with a specific focus on street trees. So those are, of course, the trees that grow along our city streets. The only program that we have that is a fee for service program is the Citizen Pruner course. So the Trees New York is the only organization that's designated by the Parks Department to license citizens in the city, people living in the city, to legally prune street trees. The idea is that, again, there really aren't enough resources in just the Parks Department to adequately get to every single tree that has, minor pruning needs. And so this, by training New Yorkers to take on some of this work, it does help to promote the health of street trees. So this is great timing that I'm here tonight, because the Citizen Pruner courses for the kind of spring summer season, the registration for those courses will open on this Saturday, April 9th at 9 a.m. There are only 4 classes, so that means a total of 80 students. That's kind of what we have the resources to offer each season, and it fills up really quickly. So if you or anyone that is interested in becoming a citizen pruner, set your alarm for 9 a.m. this Saturday morning, and that's when the registration will be live on our website. And I will share links to our website kind of toward the end. So this is Citizen Pruner course. Costs $100. It's 8 hours of classroom time where students learn about tree biology, some tree identification, and some of the basics about problems to identify and how to solve them when out pruning trees. We are currently still doing that via Zoom because of the pandemic, so those 8 hours will be virtual. And then we also have 4 hours in the field. So this is in small groups, and we will actually go out into different neighborhoods, and students get the opportunity to actually practice pruning under the guidance and supervision of their instructor. I will also mention that from time to time, communities, community boards, or just a community organization has been able to secure a grant that enables us to offer the Citizen Pruner course at a much lower rate. So for example, I used to live in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, where there was a environmental fund that was specifically for the North Brooklyn community, and that enabled me to take this Citizen Pruner course for $15. So just as you're hearing about opportunities like that, I wanted you to have that in mind as a possibility to offer a kind of specialized course in your district. So here's actually our executive director pruning a street tree. Okay, so that was number 1, Citizen Pruner course. Number 2, we often run volunteer events throughout the 5 boroughs. We really love to go into communities where we have a connection, where the community wants us to be there, and where we, ideally can partner with people who are living in the community. So that's part of the reason we love meeting with community boards like you. Our volunteer events are typically focused on tree bed stewardship. So that includes things like removing litter and weeds from the tree bed, and then cultivating the soil, potentially planting flowers or bulbs in the autumn, and watering the tree. We like to focus on, as you can see in the pictures here, younger trees, because those trees are at greatest risk of not surviving to maturity. They need actually a lot more support than they get, given just the funding that enables watering and other services for young street trees throughout the city from the Parks Department. So we like to focus on those trees. And the other thing is that the greatest benefit to our city comes from trees once they reach maturity. So it's really important not just to put the trees in the ground and to pat ourselves on the back for planting them, but actually to nurture them and make sure that they do ultimately grow to have that large canopy that provides shade, lowers the urban heat island effect, mitigates rainwater runoff, and myriad other benefits that they offer. So this is the sort of thing, that we have organized with community boards, with business district groups, with, school groups or scout groups. So since you are in the community and have many connections, if there are any type of groups that you think would be interested in stewarding street trees, you could reach out to us and we could potentially set up a volunteer stewardship event. And here's an example of a corporate group. We often get requests from corporate groups to do volunteer days. And again, we can support that, but we really like bringing the corporate groups to a neighborhood where we have an existing connection rather than just sort of showing up, unknown. Okay, number 3 is that we do some tree planting. So we have grants to plant trees in different sort of circumstances. So there's really, I'm going to break it down in 2 types of tree planting. There's community tree planting and then contractor planting. So let's actually start with contractor planting. What you see here is a school. That's probably obvious. Outside of the school is a tree bed just in the kind of lower corner of the frame, and this street tree that's bundled up with its roots kind of bundled in burlap. So it might not look like it, but a street tree that size that's going into a tree bed on a sidewalk actually weighs 500 to 600 pounds. All of that root matter and soil bundled into the burlap sack is really heavy. So this is not something that we can just do just with some volunteers and our small staff. So this is always handled with a contractor. But what we can do is, if you know of a site where there are empty tree beds that are kind of ready for new trees to go in, we can facilitate the process of getting the permits from the city, getting the contractor, and even potentially providing some funding to to purchase the trees and the supplies. There have been times where we, rather than just going in and taking care of the tree planting on our own, we will make it into kind of a learning opportunity. So as you see here, kids from the school got to come out and kind of learn about what it takes to get a street tree planted. We did one of these in my neighborhood of Jackson Heights a few months ago, where, just members of the community were invited to come and help help prep the hole, and then much easier fill in the hole once the tree is actually in the ground, and planted flowers and mulched and watered and all of that good stuff. So then we also have community tree planting. So here actually on the right, you can see that tree once it's in the ground and the students are helping to bury it. So community tree planting, we often will plant smaller trees like fruit trees, like you see here on the left. If you know of, let's say, a library or a school or any sort of other public facility that has one of these small garden spaces in the front that looks like it could use a little more landscaping or could fit a small tree, that's the kind of space that we are looking for, and we'd be happy to come in and again provide funding for the tree, the expertise to get it planted, and we can also tie in some educational opportunities there. Okay, again, this is just a small tree, and then this is a flatbed with a bunch of the kind of larger street trees. As you can see, they're using a forklift because they really can't be lifted without one. Okay, and then the other, I am an environmental educator with Trees New York, so I do a lot of the in-school programming or programming with students, mostly grades 6 through high school. As you can see here, we've got a little brownie troop who, we can do programming where we're either out on the street doing really hands-on learning where we'll talk about the benefit of the urban forest, talk about the difficulties that street trees encounter. They have a really hard life living in New York City, so we can teach students a little bit about that, and then let them get into the soil, cultivate the soil, which does a lot of good for getting air and water into the root system, and again, mulch, water, all of that good stuff. The joy of a New York City kid finding earthworms in a tree bed is unmatched. It's an amazing thing, and it happens pretty frequently when we do this. We also can offer in-school programming. So I'll often do a short class session where students learn the benefits of the urban forest and kind of how to take care of street trees. Okay, this picture I just threw in here. I just want you to kind of look at this and commit it to memory as you're walking around your community. If you see any sites like this where there are a number of tree beds that are empty, but they're this larger size tree bed that's not completely covered in paving stones, this is the kind of site that we're looking for a tree planting event. It's really great when we can do more than one tree at a time. And yeah, so just keep your eyes peeled for a site like that. And if you were to see one, reach out to me, and our arborist then would go out and survey the site and kind of check whether, it's a good option and kind of fits the criteria that we need to get a tree planted. And then last but not almost last, I wanted to share that coming up, we have the Young Urban Forester internship. So this is a paid internship for high school students. The students are typically going from their junior to senior year. So it's the summer between those 2 years. They are paid $165 a week, and the students they do both in class and in the field work where they're learning all kinds of things specifically about urban forestry, but it goes beyond that too. They really are exposed to a variety of careers in environmental stewardship, environmental science, environmental education. And by the end of the program, they really are quite well-versed and understand a lot about the New York City urban forest in particular. This is a really rare, I just want to point out, it's quite a rare offering. There's not, there aren't that many formal education opportunities in New York City specifically focused on urban forestry. A lot of the forestry education tends to be in non-urban environments. So this usually opens up in June. And again, that would be, found on our website and blasted through our social media. And then truly the last thing I just wanted to mention, this is more just for your information. If you haven't already heard about the Forest for All NYC Coalition, I recommend, taking a look. I will share the website in a moment. It's just forestforall.nyc, and I'll drop that link in the chat as well. So this is a coalition of about 50 organizations across the city that have released a roadmap for improving the urban forest, for actually expanding the canopy cover in the city, and among other things. It's a quite robust roadmap for supporting street trees in the urban forest in New York City, and Trees New York is an active member in this group. So this is one to watch, and I just wanted to share that with you. And with that, I will stop sharing, drop some links, and I'm open to answering questions if there's time for it. I'll look to you, Jessica.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sarah. I think we've been talking so much about trees and the value that they bring, not only to our health, but to just the experience of the neighborhood. So I appreciate you coming here to give more information about your organization. And I see you're dropping links in the chat, so I will add those to the minutes. And I will go to, I see Malik, and then we'll go to Alonzo.
Hello, Sarah. Thank you for the presentation.
You're welcome.
Wonderful information that you're bringing these type of projects to our community. Um, I just had a couple of questions. One, I mean, I would rather just say my questions and then maybe you can say, answer them all, or it might come all
Sure.
into one.
Yeah.
One, how many trees can you provide for our district and community? Another question is, do it have to be by a school or an after school program? And like, what is the criteria? And when are you looking to get started? And then I'll ask this last question. It's more of a statement. So after that, after you finish.
Okay, sure. Yeah, with the tree planting, so we have a grant that it's pretty open, but it does require that the tree plantings are near some sort of public space. So a purely residential street probably will not qualify, but anywhere where there is a school, a hospital, a library, a health facility, a park, a playground, I'm trying to think of other examples, but anywhere where there is like a public gathering or public space would likely be a good site. And I don't actually know off of the top of my head how many trees we have funding for, but it's more, I would say, it's more a matter of like if you have a site in mind, get in touch. Even if you can take some photographs to send to me, that's how we really can get the ball rolling. And we prefer to do for the street tree plantings I'm talking about right now. It is better if there are a few tree beds, not just one or two, but a number of tree beds in a row or on a single block, so that it's kind of more bang for our buck because we can go through and get a contractor out with several large trees at one time. And then there's more flexibility with the smaller like fruit tree plantings. Those, again, those typically are planted on like the little garden areas outside of schools or libraries. But yeah, there's a little more flexibility with those sites. Does that answer? Oh, and by when? So get in touch with us because it takes a while to go through the process of getting permits and just getting everything organized. So get in touch with us anytime, and then we'll have to evaluate the right timing, because we can't plant year round. Plantings take place in the spring and the fall. And so it just sort of depends when we can get all of the permits and the ducks in a row in order to actually get trees in the ground. But it'll either be spring or fall. And fall, like last year, we planted into early December because it hadn't frozen yet. So it can be quite a long season.
To that point, is it good to like have programming during school time or like summer camp?
Either one. I think it's great to have programming focused on environmental education anytime, and we do both. So I was just in a school a couple weeks ago where we did a in-class, like one class period inside. And then the following week, we did an outdoor stewardship where students really could apply some of what they learned to taking care of the trees. And then I have lined up for the summer some programming with like a nonprofit that does youth programming at a NYCHA building. And, we'll be doing programming with their students in the summertime. So either one.
And then my last kind of comment was, I mean, I don't know if you spoke to our chair of youth and education yet, David. But I'm David. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that this ties into a lot of youth and education, and I would think that if you can, present there in that committee, I think it would be a wonderful collaboration, possibly between youth and education and parks and open space.
Thank you. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, hi, I'm David. So I'm who he's referring to. And I think it would be a great opportunity if we could even explore some of this for maybe part of our Summer Rising program this summer, where kids are in school till 12 o'clock. And then from 12 o'clock to 6, they have to be engaged in some other kind of learning, social emotional activity. And this would be a great kind of STEM activity in the essence, where we bring kids out and train them. And Natasha, who's on this call, works with me as well and runs a garden. And I can see her role as part of working with this kind of group in that capacity. And you know, again, I think if we can connect with some of the, as Malik says, some of the CBOs and after school programs, we need to get kids out and hands-on learning, and they've been cooped up for a long time. So we do have a, you know, committee meeting coming up next week, but maybe looking at you coming at the May meeting. We have a full agenda already for Tuesday, but maybe looking for the May meeting and maybe even doing a presentation to some of the schools in the district through the superintendent's office, because this is a great way to get these kinds of programs in school. You know, I'm even thinking, Natasha, would you consider kind of this work in the summer as well, and maybe helping coordinate some kind of program for us around the trees, you know, even the trees around the school, right? We should make sure that they're taken care of, that kids can buy into that. Yeah.
I would, but I'm gonna be gone for most of July. That's the only thing. So it would have to be in August.
Yeah, but we could work on setting it up, and you know, you have that. But maybe it's something. Why don't we talk at another time offline, and then why don't we also invite you to our May meeting, and that can be coordinated the same way it was for this presentation, and kind of take your form again and just resupply, because we also have SYEP, which are, you know, again, youth that are also can be paid on our level and then be part of the program on another. I don't know the capacity, but you know, that again, let's talk offline and
that sounds
explore that opportunity. This is actually a tree in Woodlawn Park that somebody carved that's laying on the ground, and I had to take a picture of it. So isn't that great?
I hope they carved it when it was already on the ground and not when
it had to be on the ground already, because they had a milk crate where they must have been sitting on the milk crate while it was being carved. So in Woodlawn Park, which is part of Van Cortlandt, and I moved up to the Bronx not too long ago. That's an amazing park, but I never realized how many trees are fallen and fall, because I run back there with my 3 dogs in the woods. So it's beautiful. Anyway, that's a side note.
That's wonderful. I would love to have follow-up conversations. I'll just mention my direct email address is sarah@treesny.org, sarah@treesny.org. So
you see it in the chat. Yes.
You know, we're a small organization. We're pretty nimble. Also, we're just now restarting face-to-face and in-school programming. So it's a moment where there's actually quite a lot of flexibility, and we can kind of tailor programming to whomever reaches out to us. So it's a good time to try to
well, I tell you, I would love to do something like this with our middle school kids. They just need to really get hands-on kind of education as opposed to just books. So the collaboration of in class and then doing something hands-on is such a great kind of activity. And then after school, we could do it in smaller groups as opposed to larger groups. So, you know, I'm willing to work with you, Sarah. Thank you for the presentation.
Amazing. Great. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, David. All right, Alonzo, sorry about the wait.
No, not at all. I commend Malik and David for mentioning that, because it would be a great opportunity. This would be a great opportunity for the board in general, across committees. This is a tremendous. Thank you, Sarah, for presenting this. A tremendous opportunity, but specifically for our committee. I'm just like, you know, I'm salivating right now because of all the potential here. My question is about the money towards this. Yes, you guys have a grant. Would the community be responsible for any part of the monetary responsibility at all, or is it fully funded by the grant from you guys?
Sure, that's a great question. So again, our only program that there's a fee for participation is the Citizen Pruner course. Other than that, like, you know, our offerings can ebb and flow depending on what grants we currently have. But when you're talking about like the tree planting or any of the educational offerings that I'm doing with school age students, none of that has a fee. That's all just part of what we do. I'm trying to think if there's any nuance. Oh, I'll add a little nuance. Like the school where I just did some programming a couple weeks ago, they wanted tree guards installed on the tree beds around the perimeter of their school. And, there have been times in the past where we did have grant money that was focused on tree guards, but we just don't at the moment. And so that was an example where I did provide the in-school programming, but then the PTA did some fundraising in order to get the money that they needed for tree guards and ultimately had them installed. So we kind of partnered in that way. Yeah, does that help answer your question?
Absolutely. Then I have one more thing before I let you go. As you know, a community garden member, it will be great to have some of those fruit trees, established in common areas, or even some community gardens that are scattered around East Harlem. So I mentioned it to anyone on this call, please reach out to her and request some fruit trees, because they'll be amazing as part of your garden. And then the last thing would be, as far as the street trees are concerned, you mentioned that the criteria as far as the space of the garden, what do you call it?
Oh, the tree bed.
The tree bed, yes. I'm sorry. The space of the tree bed, and its proximity to something important like a park or whatnot. I mean, is it hard to establish that criteria? Because I'm pretty sure, again, there's a lot of empty beds in East Harlem we'd love to fill. I just wanted to know, I mean, how hard is it for the criteria to be established for us to put some trees in these empty beds?
Yeah, it's not that hard. Again, so let me answer the question in two ways. So if Trees New York is going to facilitate the tree planting, so get the permit, get the tree, get the contractor, we just currently have the criteria that it has to be in proximity to some kind of public space or public building. However, that doesn't mean that we can't like support you in getting trees planted in other sites. So there's an online form with the Parks Department. Hopefully you, as members of the environmental, or I'm sorry, I forget the exact name of your committee, but the committee that's concerned with environmental issues in your neighborhood, bookmark the street tree service link from the Parks Department. I will try to find it right now while I'm talking. So you can request a tree to be planted in any tree bed on a city street through that link. And I think people often have the impression that it's like you send in your request and it just goes into an abyss and nothing ever happens. It takes a long time, but I am here to say it does happen, and like with so many things, the squeaky wheels get the grease. And so if you put in a request, if you follow up with it, if you kind of track the number, the request number, the tree will get planted. And I know that there have even been times when Parks Department will take input from the community member that requested the tree on what type of tree they'd like planted on the block. So, it takes, I would say, about 1.5 to 2 years. And that can feel like a really long time. But when it comes to planting a tree, just think of the many decades of benefit that it will give. So I'm going to try to find that link for you. And then, I had one other link I wanted to share. I'm just going to plug a different organization. So I know that the New York Restoration Project is running thank you. Thank you for adding that link. And I know the New York Restoration Project, which is nyrp.org, they are doing some tree giveaways in the coming month, I think maybe it's April and May. The link that I just sent, they have a map of the different sites where they'll be distributing trees. They have their own separate criteria. Again, like that's a different organization, but it's just something that was on my radar. So I thought I'd share it, and they're giving them away for free.
Community trees, which they used to mention.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And thank you, Alonzo, for great questions. Angel?
Hi, Sarah. Two quick ones. One are tree beds that might have a remaining stump from a previously removed tree
Mhm.
eligible? And would a community board office meet the criteria for a public space? Because we have a
I-
couple of pits right by our office.
Okay. You know what? Send me, if you can, like send me an email, even better, send me an email with just a picture of those tree beds and
Sure.
we could, we could evaluate more closely. I actually don't know. So for Trees New York, I'm not sure if they are also taking care of the stump removal. So I actually just don't know the answer to that. I would need to talk to our arborist. Stump removal is another service that you can request from Parks Department.
Mhm.
And then whether a CB office counts, I mean, I feel like it should. That is a community building.
Yeah. All right. So I'll send you an email. Thank you, Sarah.
Great.
Okay, sorry, just trying to keep up with the notes. Any other questions from the board or from the public for Sarah and Trees New York? Please raise your hand. All right. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you.
I think we're getting all of your links here into the minutes, so appreciate you taking the time. And I know we in this neighborhood, I think we have trees planted, by parks or whoever, and then there's no one that is there to take care of the trees in our neighborhood like there are in other districts. So this is really an important conversation, and we look forward to continuing to work with you. And thank you so much.
I really appreciate all the time and all the great questions. And I'll just mention, thank you for taking notes. I will also follow up with an email that just kind of summarizes some of what we've talked about with some links that you can follow up. And you have my email address if anything comes to mind after. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Yeah. All right. That is it for our presentations and discussions, I believe. Right, Angel?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Do we want to, sorry, I'm just reading your note for my question. Do we want to revisit? Oh, here it is. There it is. Okay. For old business, one of the things on the agenda is following up on the parks tour planning. Malik suggested that we start talking about this now so that we can start to plan for the summer. So just wanted to open up the conversation. Last year we were able to visit a number of parks over 2 dates on 2 different months, and we were not able to visit every park as usually happens. So I know there's been some conversations about focusing more on the upper portion of our district. So if there are any thoughts from the committee as to when or how or why as to the parks tour planning, please feel free to raise your hand. And Malik, I'm not sure if you wanted to add anything else, but your questions were also good. So feel free to unmute, Malik, and add anything that you'd like.
Yeah. Last year we did a very good job at trying to visit the different parks, and basically I feel like this year we'll have more time to plan it, and we won't have to bunch them up all at once. So I feel like if we probably do, if we plan it right, we do, a few parks, like every other weekend, and pick, like Saturday or Sunday morning from like 9 to 12, just so that, like, for one, we're spacing it out, but we're not pressured to push through, every community in East Harlem. And that would give us, like, to the point that Sarah, for Sarah, in that program that she made, we'll have opportunities to view and visit and look at these different places that we can see, and we can possibly put trees up, throughout our community. while we're walking through our community, visiting different parks. So I feel like it's a good thing that this conversation came up during this meeting, and it's a great thing that Sarah presented during this meeting, if possible. And that's the only, we only just talking about it to, today, but maybe our next meeting we can have a plan, and or I'll create something for us to possibly follow up on, and we can tweak it for the summer months so that we're all set, and we can do it the right way, and as far as not rushing through the different parks.
Thank you, Malik. David?
I think Malik, just following up on that, that would be great in the essence of, as we do go on, identify where trees would be good in these public spaces. The other thing I want to mention is, I know there's a lot of issues on Mount Morris Park and exercise and equipment. In Carver, they put up, and I have some pictures, and I'll send them to you, Jessica and Malik, where they have exercise equipment that's outside in Carver and can be used in various different exercise equipment. And, the reality is Mount Morris Park has become a place where men work out, right? And, this might be a solution to kind of contain it and then keep separate the workout equipment versus the equipment that are for kids that the men use to work out on. So I think, I'll take some pictures and send it, but I think, getting around and seeing also some of the parks that are in NYCHA and how they could also support, kind of this as well. So, but Malik's idea is really great about, as we go through this process, these are public spaces. Let's look at the trees and see maybe where we can, it's like you get two bangs for your buck as we go around. So, and I would also say, maybe some of those parks where we had major concerns and raised issues, have there been any changes? And then we should also see how the parks are used, right? So like sometimes I think just, we went early, right? People are not necessarily up and utilizing that park. How is it used or not used? So maybe the time should not be as early in the day, but a little bit more to the time that kids are utilizing it, just a thought.
Thank you, David. Great points. Yeah, that's something I think that would be really great if we could visit all parks over the course of different times of day, because it is different depending on when you go. It's a great suggestion.
And I think how Malik kind of framed it, it also made me think like, right, we don't have to go to as many. Maybe if we spread it out between a group, 3 of us will go here this day and spend some time in those parks, and really see how they're utilized. So it's not overwhelming for the whole group, but we kind of share in that process, so.
Excellent idea. Yeah, I think it was a little bit much. And I think to try to fit, 20 parks into one day, it's a lot of different parks and they're all spread out. So I think tackling it in groups is a great suggestion.
Well, like we all do it, and you 3 go there, we 2 go here, it's kind of like that thing. And then regroup.
And there's like
Yeah.
There's like some sort of form that, we can say what time of day it is, how many people in the park, what are they doing, what are issues, what are things you're seeing that are great, etc. Yeah. Malik, go ahead.
I don't know, Jessica, if you have it, or Andrew, or if the board have it, but can we just get a list of can I get the list of parks and open spaces that we have in our community, so that maybe I could be proactive and start to list some of these things and try to figure out some dates and see what'll work for our upcoming committee meeting next month?
Yes, I know we have a map of park spaces, I think from New Yorkers for Parks, that shows a bunch of the different parks in our area. And I think that's what I use to generate the maps that we use. So like, I'll go ahead and send you that map as well as the 2 maps that we used and the document, the Google document that we tracked our notes on from the last time. But thank you so much for offering to plan. I think that would be incredibly helpful. And then we can have a more focused conversation on that next month.
I'm just thinking about David. I'm tired of him. And he said, not just talk about it, be about it.
Exactly.
You gonna put me out there?
Awesome. Are there any other final thoughts from the committee or the public on parks tours for the summer?
We also have a list of parks and like gardens and stuff on the board website. Might benefit from a refresh and a look at to refresh. I'll send the link.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So before I go to the public, I see one more hand for the board. So go ahead, Michelle.
Hi, yes, I would like to add if we could try to get as social as if we get together as one group before we split up and go to the different parks so that we could actually see each other in person and outside of committee duties. And if we could actually get together and have a picnic in one of the parks or some sort of downtime where we're not talking about business, but we're talking about more on a community with each other.
Yes. Love that. Thank you for that suggestion. All right. I will move to Jacqueline. Oh,
Jessica,
ahead,
put it in the budget, Jessica. Put it in the budget.
Will do. All right, Jacqueline, Alan.
Yes, hi. I was on the walking tour with you guys last year. I don't know if you remember me, but I enjoyed meeting you, Jessica, and I know Malik was there. I enjoyed meeting him as well. And I'm so happy to see you guys in this environment and hearing about all the new plans that you have. And I'm hoping to keep track more and get a little bit more involved. With that said, I did participate in the Parks Department conversation about the park next to my home, which is the Detective Edwards Park.
Yep.
And I did have some feedback that I wanted to bring to the community board, but I didn't know, is this an appropriate time and appropriate place?
Yes.
Okay.
Please feel free.
So, so there was a lot of discussion about, wanting to bring a playground. And I know the detective's mom specifically said she wanted the area to serve both children and the rest of the community. And one thing I forgot to highlight in that meeting was that the space is important for elderly and disabled in the area as well as children. I think a lot of times, of course, I have children, I love kids, and, play spaces are very important. But a lot of times we forget about the older community and people who have been here for many, many years before some of us even moved here. And so my input was basically asking them to keep historical elements as well as, which would be the heart structure in the park. The pathway is a heart shape, and it's, when you search the park on Google Maps, it's one of the first, it is the first thing that you see, the image that you see. And there's some art that is done on the gate as well that's heart-shaped, and there have been New York Times articles written about it. They were kind of uncertain about where that artwork came from, but having been a resident here in this building, because I live in the building that's next to the park with the mural painted on it, And I was here before they purchased that land and made it a park. Being here that long, I know that CORE, the Creative Arts Workshop that made that park, had many children from the neighborhood in their organization that would often frequent the park for plays, for painting, many arts and crafts. And the children actually painted the mural. I was on the 4th floor at the time, and they had kids on the mural painting. I was surprised, but but anyway, luckily everyone was safe, and so I'm thinking that a lot of the art in that park was probably inspired by the children. The New York Times article kind of gives it a little bit of a sort of negative rap, in my opinion, if I might say, because they liken the image to being Haitian voodoo. And, this is a Caribbean area. There could have been a lot of Caribbean children that participated in that camp. And this could have been where the artwork, where the idea for it came in. Because I know that organization, I spoke with those people a lot when they were out there, and I know that they took the children's ideas into the design of the park. So all of this being said, I was really trying to advocate for the green space to be kept. It's important, yes, to have play areas, and definitely, it's important to consider the detective's mother in this whole thing, because now it's dedicated to him, and that's a loss that, is just unimaginable. So I understand all of that, but I am very concerned with the flood levels here. They did show a image of that and their research on it, but I think one of the reasons why this block has not such a high level of flood zone is because of the park and because of the community garden that's here. And if we lose that grass area in that park, that's not going to help us in terms of climate change. So I was hoping that, you all could take my voice into consideration, and hopefully try and, if you agree with me, hopefully consider grass and open space being important in that area. So thank you so much for the time. And I hope to see you in the summer on the next walking tour, or maybe sooner, because actually I heard you talking about the Museum of the City of New York event, and I'm definitely going to be there.
Okay, great. I put the link in the chat, so it would be great if you could fill out the registration for East Harlem residents. And thank you so much for your comments. I am a childless adult, so not by choice, but I think that it's an important consideration, and I think one that Parks is not always cognizant of, that if it is a playground that adults without children are limited in their use of the park. So I think your points are good, and I've made note of them in our minutes. And I encourage everyone to visit the link that was in the chat for submitting additional thoughts on that park and the process moving forward. So thank you so much for coming and for adding in your thoughts.
Thank you all so much for having me. Thank you.
Diane?
Actually, I was just going to follow up on that, but you said it's in the link, and I'll get it later, as to submit comments. I was unable to make that meeting. Is that the park with the willow tree?
Yes.
And was there any talk about that one? That is a landmark, that tree.
It is, yes.
For the care of it, and I kind of agree with you, Jacqueline, that there should be a space of serenity in that park.
Yes.
Given the history behind Omar himself, it should be also an area for reflection, so that we don't have these kind of issues going forward at any place in our community.
Yes,
Well,
that's exactly what I said in the meeting. I'm sorry, I don't mean to overspeak you, but
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm very passionate about this. That tree, that willow tree is suffering terribly because of some storms we had. And I would love, and I'm sure the rest of the community would love to see it last. I have so many conversations with people passing the park that I don't know, that we start striking up conversation and they tell me about how they've seen the tree since they were a baby, and how it means something to them. So, and I see people from around the area, mostly pre-pandemic, utilizing the park to eat lunch because there were picnic tables under the tree.
Jessica, did they have like a vision for the park already set up, or were they just looking for input?
I was not able to attend either, but as far as I understand, it's not about the plans for the park so much as it was about getting community input.
All right, so they haven't come up with their visioning session yet as to, based on input, this is what we see.
Yeah, I feel like usually they bring that to us later on.
I know, that's why I'm asking the question. So, and to the point that Jacqueline was making about the tree being in itself a landmark, even though it really isn't. And it's one of those rare trees that, you don't find in the city. And that is in decay. Maybe I'll put that in the comments that you said we have up until April 14th.
Yeah,
right?
and I just posted the link again in the chat.
And I don't know if Sarah's still on the call, but this certainly from, this is what we look for to maintain that kind of tree. And would be perfect if we could find a young person who could be trained in tree biology, I think it's called, to be a caretaker of that park, to be a caretaker of that tree. What a wonderful project that would be. So,
that would absolutely be awesome, if I might say. I actually have my own interest in gardening and that sort of thing, but I just want to add that there was a book written about that tree. I've heard people talk about it often. So it is significant. I believe there might have been a New York Times article as well, but I keep trying to look for it and I can't find it. So if anyone can, but that's all I'll say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Yeah, and I just wanted to, before we move on, just to say that one of the things that Connie Lee, who's not here, provided in her summary was the suggestion that the people who care and joined that meeting, and I plan to reach out to Parks for the contacts of those people, but I'm not sure they'll give it to me, but that those people form a Friends of group to sort of lead the care and sustainability of the park over time. So Jacqueline, I'm not sure if that's something you would be interested in fronting, but I think that would be a great way to ensure that the park is taken care of through the renovation and beyond. So thank you so much for being here. And we'll move on to the sanitation garages conversation, and I'll pass it over to Angel.
Evening again, everyone. Just wanted to share a couple of quick points about the sanitation garages in our district and some updates that we've become aware of over the past few months and in the past few weeks. Won't take too long, just some quick points. The M11 garage, which is the garage that's supposed to service our district and is currently located on 99th Street across the street from Metropolitan Hospital, is being relocated to 127th Street, right? We've done this for a couple of years. They're building the city is referring to as a temporary location on 127th Street. However, we recently learned at a meeting of the community advisory group for that was created as as a result of the East Harlem rezoning in 2017, that the Department of Sanitation intends to continue to use a surface parking lot on 99th Street to store sanitation equipment. So newer members may not know the entire history of this, and I won't belabor it, but the very short and sweet version is that there's been a lot of advocacy for a very long time in the community, decades, if not more, to get those trucks off of 99th Street, because most of the sanitation equipment is parked in the street, poses a number of dangers and, air quality concerns, public safety concerns. So that was, the impetus for getting those trucks off of the street. And to hear that the Department of Sanitation is still entertaining an idea, well, not even entertaining, they're planning to keep equipment on 99th Street, is an affront to all of that advocacy and all that effort. A couple of other quick points. On 124th Street, the Department of Sanitation, just east of Lexington Avenue, utilizes a surface parking lot, or utilizes a vacant lot that they use as parking to store the equipment of the lot cleaning unit of the Department of Sanitation. That property is controlled by HPD and was one of the sites identified in the East Harlem rezoning points of agreement as a site for the development of 100% affordable housing. Any efforts to redevelop on that site, or even initiate conversations for such development, are on hold indefinitely, so long as this lot cleaning unit equipment continues to be stored there. The plan for the temporary garage on 127th Street of the M11 was supposed to also take the equipment for the lot cleaning unit. But subsequently, DSNY, without much notice, just changed their minds or said, we actually didn't mean that. And anyway, the equipment's there. It's problematic. And then lastly, the M10 garage, which is the garage that's supposed to service Central Harlem. Each community district, of course, has its own garage, its own designated garage. But the M10 garage is located within the boundaries of our district, up at 132nd Street and Park Avenue. Since the structure that the garage is supposed to operate out of is subpar, for lack of a more accurate and more insulting word, most of their equipment is parked underneath the L on Park Avenue. So essentially an open air sanitation garage, right? Also the subject of much advocacy to get that stuff out of our district. In the 2017 rezoning, it was codified that the city would be working with the community to identify a location for a permanent consolidated garage. Those plans seem to have stifled and don't seem to be making much traction. The community advisory group that was, put together to participate in these conversations with the Department of Sanitation, frankly, has been frustrated by the Department of Sanitation. Every idea that's been brought up by the community advisory group in terms of a location to bring the M10, the permanent consolidated garage, has been, rejected or, quote unquote, found to not be a useful site or a feasible site for such a garage. Obviously that's very problematic. All of these points are problematic. So I spoke with Jessica Malik a week or so ago, and I think it's time, and the three of us agree that it's beyond time to invite the Department of Sanitation back to meet with the community board in a public meeting and explain all these points and what all their plans are for 99th Street, for 127th Street, and for 132nd Street. One very last point, I happened to drive by the 127th Street site the other day on my way into work, and I was curious to see what the progress was. So I see that there's a lot of construction going on the former Potamkin Auto Mall site. And I don't know what exactly is being constructed and for what purpose, other than the sanitation construction, related construction. But it doesn't look like the Potamkin site is looking to go anywhere. And for those that don't know, or for those that need a refresher, one of the ideas codified in the points of agreement for the 2017 rezoning was that that block would be, investigated as a possible site for a consolidated garage. The consolidated garage would house 10 and 11. So those are the points. I just wanted to give that quick update. I don't have much more than that to share. I can clarify, and I can try to offer some clarity for any questions. But that's what I have at this moment. Malik?
Yes, thank you for the update. I just had one question. Bringing Department of Sanitation to the committee meeting or the full board meeting?
To the committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, did you also did you see something else on 127th Street as far as that they was building or using the space for someone else?
Yes.
Or,
thanks, Malik.
okay.
I don't know if that's a basketball or a hockey assist. Either way, I appreciate it. So in my little mini Inspector Gadget inspection, I kept driving along 2nd Avenue and turned onto 126th Street and saw that on 126th Street, there is dedicated parking for the Proton Center staff. And the reason this, kind of caught my eye is because I had proposed to EDC, who controls that large lot on 127th Street, on 2nd Avenue between 127th and 126th Street, that site could be used temporarily to house the M10 garage during the reconstruction of the Park Avenue viaduct that is planned by the MTA. My concern being that during that construction, everything underneath the viaduct would have to be moved, including the sanitation garage, and we didn't want all those trucks back onto the street and on local residential streets. So I had, put forward to the Department of Sanitation and to EDC, who controls that site, that perhaps we could, they can negotiate and reach an agreement to house that property, that equipment there while and only during the reconstruction of the Park Avenue viaduct. Only to see that when I drove by, they're using it to park the Proton Center staff's vehicles. And thank you for bringing it up. As you can see, like, all these pieces are interconnected, and it's just what happens all the time. And then without any notification, and then by the time you learn about it, or by the time you make us think about it, they're like, oh, it's too late and we've been doing it for a while. And it's unacceptable on 99th Street, it's unacceptable on 126th Street, it's unacceptable on Park Avenue. It's just unacceptable. It's just completely wrong. You can make all the equity and just, environmental justice, claims, and they're all applicable, all of them. And there's just no justifiable reason other than, in my opinion now, laziness and lack of consideration for a community that's just been beset by poor policy decisions for decades. I tried to be brief, but Malik asked a good question.
Thank you, Angel. And before we go to Diane, I just wanted to note that when the sort of report of the different city agencies and the monies being spent were sent out, I took a look through that, and the sanitation specifically, after they had said that there's not enough money, or there's never enough, whatever it is, for our district, but they said in their reports that other sanitation garages in other districts are receiving funding, whether that's for renovation of existing garages, new garages that are being constructed. So I think there's evidence to say that there is money. It's just being relocated or provided to districts that hours, which is a problem. Seeing this, that's a agreement that the city made, and here we are. So go ahead, Diane.
Three points. Eric Adams just announced tonight who his pick for the sanitation commissioner is. Her name is something Tish. The gentleman who is the current sanitation commissioner is retiring. Second point, I encourage particularly the newer members, Angel and Jessica, to really take a walk or visit the sites that you talked about, 99th Street, as well as 127th Street, so they can see exactly what the issue is around the whole concept of 99th Street, moving from 99th Street, coming to 127th Street. And also to take a look at where the CB10 sanitation truck is and how close it is to 127. And the third point, Jessica, is to the funding. And yes, you can get funding to build a brand new sanitation facility, but you have to advocate with your federal representatives to do that, because it is applicable. I happen to see it because Uptown Grand Central is applying for one of the federal funds. And there is clearly a designation to apply for sanitation facilities. So if ever, I guess, Angel, you guys find a place, I think we need to start, if anything, you need to start having that advocacy at the federal level to get the money.
Good point.
Thank you, Diane. Any other comments or thoughts from the board about the sanitation garages?
Oh, excuse me, I didn't raise my
It's okay,
hand.
go ahead,
Chair.
Bill.
I apologize.
Go ahead.
When can, how do we bring sanitation to our next or the next committee meeting that they can get to? And if possible, when can, like Diane suggested, when can some of the newer board members visit these different sites? If they can't do it by themselves, then if we want to do it together as a group so that we can talk about it, when, I mean, I guess you can send an email out as far as when we would be available to do so.
Yeah, great idea. I know we passed by the garage on 126th Street on one of our parks tours, and we were able to see that. But yeah, agree that I think it'll be difficult to organize a group visit outside of the park tours. We can integrate that into our park tours over the summer, but I think that it would be best if people who haven't been to those sites visit on your own. And relay any questions to myself and Angel. And I know our agenda is pretty packed for next month, Angel. So we will get on to reaching out to DOS and seeing about when is the earliest that they can come in so we can address these concerns.
And if any members, need a refresher, or newer members need an info dump, it's a lot of pieces for each site. I was trying to summarize. But if ever you have any questions, you can call Diane Collier. Her number is, no, you can call me at the office whenever you want. Diane
funny.
also knows a ton of this stuff, right? Like, it was her idea with the consolidated garage. So either one of us.
Funny. You're funny, Angel.
Her number is not.
Now, I listen, I do encourage the newer members to go and see. You're absolutely right. They need to go see what the issue is. And then to have a conversation, whether you do it on your own, and Malik also is familiar with the area, Malik or me, to meet you, and we can take you around for at least the uptown 132nd and 127th Street. And when it comes to 99th Street, you guys need to go there and visit and see the conditions of the garage, as well as the proximity of the hospital and the other housing that is surrounding, and why it was important to try to move them and consolidate them. So we could talk all night about it, but I think that's the best way to do it.
Agree. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Angel, for bringing this forward. It's something we just got to keep being the squeakiest wheel, I suppose. So I think that's it for our agenda for today. So if there's no objections, we can move to roll call.
Diane Collier,
Still here.
Jessica Elliott,
Here.
David Giordano.
President Angel, that was really good on the sanitation. I wanted to say that. Bye.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Alonzo Johnson.
Here.
Malik,
Yes.
Natasha,
I'm here.
Michelle,
Present, I'm here.
you have quorum.
Thank you. If there are no objections, we will adjourn the meeting. Seeing no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 8:39. Thank you all, and I'll see you very soon at the Earth Day conference.
Good night.
Thank you.
Night.